guys, so I just realized that my microphone wasn't on all this time. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give you a brief update of what I'm doing. I have added ground beef to my skillet as I am making this taco ring. I'm going to be using 2 packets of the taco sauce. I'm going to be seasoning my meat, as I said, with some salt and pepper. I kind of showed you guys that earlier, as well as with some minced garlic. So yeah, this is still a learning process, and sometimes you forget to do a mic check when you turn your mic on, but you know, we're just gonna roll with it and, you know, do our thing. Alrighty, so now that our beef mixture is starting to cook through, we're going to go ahead and start to season it. Again, I'm not doing any particular measurements. I'm just seasoning it to the way I like. You season it to the way you like. Oh my goodness, I just love the smell of garlic cooking. I just love it. Already gets my mouth to watering. I like to make sure that my beef is well done, so I want to make sure that I'm not seeing any pink, and then we're going to let it cook for even longer. I want my meat well done. So now we're just going to let that cook up. I don't see any pink. We're just going to let that cook for a little bit longer, and then we're going to come back to it in a few minutes. Alrighty, and so our meat has now been cooking for about maybe 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, and the water has started to evaporate. So I think we're in a good place now to go ahead and add our seasoning. And so for me, there's no need to really drain this right now, as I believe I used the 80-20. So I may or may not add the water, or maybe I won't add as much. I may not add the whole cup of water. But we're just going ahead and adding in that taco seasoning now. get that mixed. Yep, I am going to go ahead and add some of that water. It's going to thicken up on us. We're just going to make sure we get all of that seasoning mixed in there. I'm going to go ahead and turn my meat down now to about a medium. Let that simmer for just a little bit. We're just going to let this simmer for about another maybe 2 minutes. You can do it for up to, I think, 4 minutes, but because my beef was already well cooked before I put the seasoning in, I don't feel like I have to. And then I'm going to drain it after so that it doesn't have all of this oil and water in it. But yeah, it's smelling so good right now. So now we've drained our meat. And what we're going to be doing is adding in some cheese. So I'm going to use inside of the mixture some mild cheddar. As always, I should learn to take my cheese out a little bit earlier so that it is ready for pouring, but as always, I like to wait until the last minute. But again, we're going to do what we got. Okay? And so we're just going to pour some of that in. Again, I didn't go by any specific measurement because the idea is that it's going to help our meat mixture clump together when we put it inside the taco ring. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit more out. It's already melting because the mixture is hot. And I can go ahead and turn that off because really all we're doing now is putting that in, and as you can see, it's starting to clump together. We're going to be adding a little bit more cheese once we put it in the taco ring. Oh yes, cheesy goodness. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and prep for putting our meat mixture into the actual taco ring. And so what I'm going to be doing is simply opening my Pillsbury Crescent Rolls, and these things always give me difficulty, so let's just see how I do with getting this thing open. So what I have is about an 8-inch pan, I believe, already lined with foil. Again, I'm all about the easy cleanup. So I actually have 2 of those. Instead of using one big pan to make one big ring, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 smaller rings. And then that way, if we don't eat all of them, which we never do, that thing always makes my heart jump too. But that way, if we don't eat all of them, which we never do, then it's easy to pack the second ring away. Alrighty. So these things are supposed to be able to break in half, but again, it's never quite that easy. So I just pull it apart and I set the dough onto a plate. And gently start to peel it apart. The other reason it's good to have a plate around is so that when you're not working with pieces of the dough, you have some place to set it off to the side. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to be doing is taking the short side of the dough and I'm going to start to make a ring and lay the other triangle side off of my pan. So it's actually going to overlap, and that's what you want. By the way, this recipe can be found on the back of many of the Crescent packaging. This is not an original recipe by me by any means. And so again, what I'm doing is just putting them as close together or far apart as you would like. And sometimes you have to readjust. There's really no particular way that this has to be. You just want to be able to have them so that you'll be able to get your mixture in and that you'll be able to fold it over. So, yeah. And I may want to close that in. And so there's where my ring should have come apart, but maybe I just wasn't patient enough, which doesn't surprise me. Patience is not always something that I'm known for. Sometimes I am, but when it comes to cooking, I can sometimes speed through the process. Alrighty, so now we've got our ring. And as you can see, I've got my triangle sort of already folded up and out of the way so that when I put my meat mixture in, all I have to do is roll them down. So this is what it's going to look like. And then so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to spoon some of our mixture onto the ring. So I'm starting with about maybe a half a spoonful. And a lot of times I will end up with some extra meat mixture, but we're going to see how it kind of goes today. And I'm just trying to get that meat mixture right there on that ring. And it's okay if some of it falls off. And just put it back on. Because at the end of the day, it's all going in our mouths, folks. So get it on there just as best as you can. Again, this is one of the reasons why I like using the pan, the ring pan, or pie pan, cake pan, however you want to call it. Because I think it makes it easier for the mixture to stay where you want it to be. Alrighty, oh my goodness. It's gonna be great. So I'm gonna put just a little bit more, and then we're gonna close this up. Maybe just a little bit more. Alrighty, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to start to fold the triangle pieces over and then give them a tuck under. Okay. So again, we're just taking those triangle tips and we're going to begin tucking them under. Now, some of them may get stuck underneath your meat mixture, and that's okay. Just pull them out. Again, it's all going in our mouth. And we're just going to tuck it under. Okay. By the way, if you decide not to use foil, you do not need to grease your pan. Alrighty, and that's what we're looking like. Okay. So I'll let you guys just watch me do the next one, and then we're going to go ahead and get these in the oven. Alrighty folks, so let me tell you, one thing you should know is that cooking is not neat. Cooking is like science. You are going to make some messes, which is why I clean as I go. Okay, so as you can see, meat's falling, but you know what? That's okay. We gonna live with that, right? The other thing I realized as I was putting my meat mixture into this one is that one of the things that I like to do is add some extra cheese, and I did not do that to this one. So I could open it up and put the cheese on, but I think I'm going to forego that. Maybe when it comes out of the oven, I'll sprinkle the top with some cheese. But I'm going to go ahead and put some cheese onto this one. So what I'm going to do is now I'm using my Fiesta blend because this is one of my favorite cheeses. You'll see me use this in a lot of recipes. But it's one of my favorite blends to use. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle some more of that cheese in this one. This one's going to be extra cheesy goodness. And see, there we go with those messes. But you know what? That's okay. We don't waste anything. We use everything. So we're just going to go ahead and pick that up and put that back in there. Alright, I want some more on that one. There we go. Good. And so we're just going to go ahead and close these up. And like I said, I don't care that there's cheese down there because it's all going to get baked in. We're just tucking those ends under. And so some of that cheese is going to go on the underside, which isn't that going to be a nice surprise? Okay, this last one isn't wanting to tuck. It wants to stick to my finger. So it'll close up nicely though. So this is what they end up looking like before we put them in the oven. And as I said, the oven's already been preheating at 375. So we're just going to go ahead and pop those in. And we're going to go ahead and let those bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. We'll probably check on them about halfway. But as you can see, the mixture, this was 2 pounds of ground beef, and we still have just a little bit left, so that's okay. We can use that for a lunch later on because, again, we don't waste anything here. And when it's all done, we'll come back and see what they look like when they come out of the oven. So these have been cooking for about 13, maybe almost 14 minutes, and we're just going to take a quick peek at them. Oh yes, look at that. So they're browning up pretty good. I'm going to say maybe another 5 minutes, 10 tops. So we're going to go ahead and take these out of the oven. They've been cooking for about 18 minutes. So this is what we're looking like. And so the last thing to do is to just go ahead and get these garnished up. And when we get done with that, I'll come back and show you guys the final product. And here we are with the final look. This is what they both look like. Now, one of the things that I don't have today is my sour cream, but often I will have some sour cream to also put on those because I do like sour cream on my tacos. But again, whatever you like on your tacos is pretty much what you could put on your taco ring. So now let's just see if we can go ahead and cut one of these and see how it tastes. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into this. That's what I'm talking about. And as soon as I put some of that on the border salsa with my lime chips, it's going to be good eats. So happy Sunday to everyone. Enjoy. Hope you're enjoying the day. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time.